This podcast is a part of the Podmania Podcasting Network. Check out podmania.co.uk to check out more of our great podcasts, features, reviews, match ratings and previews spanning the crazy and diverse world of professional wrestling. Hello guys, and welcome to the Stardom Cast, your monthly audio source for all things World Wondering Stardom, right here on the Podmania Podcasting Network. I'm your host, Rob Gooden. I'm joined, as ever, by the Stardom Mark himself, Chris O'Brien. Chris, how you doing, buddy?
I'm scared.
Scarred?
Scared.
Or scared?
Scared.
Why are you scarred?
I watched Star Wars episode 1 and 2 in the same day. I
mean, you only have yourself to blame, really, for that. Star Wars episode 1 will always have that nostalgic place in my heart, even though it's just a dog shit film. It will always have that place in my heart because it was the first one I saw at the cinemas. Attack of the Clones is fucking shit across the board.
It is, but I'm compulsive. So if I now don't watch every theatrically released Star Wars movie, I will feel a little bit incomplete inside.
But haven't you already seen them all?
Yes, but I'm watching them in order over the course of a week.
But, and I will stress this again, this is very, very important. You have already seen them all.
Yes.
So...
Hey, we're out the bad part, though. There's episode 3, which I like, and then Clone Wars, which I've only seen once and don't remember anything about. And then we're into the good shit, episode 7, I think is great. Episode 8 is contentious, but I love it. Rogue One, we can all agree, great film.
Yeah, very good film. I disagree with you about The Last Jedi, but that's a personal point. And then Rise of the Skywalker is certainly our film.
I'm not because I haven't seen, the 3 sequel in order. I've watched the original trilogy in order. Everyone's done that, and if you haven't done that, do that. But I haven't watched them in order in close proximity, so I'm interested to see how I feel when I'm not watching these movies literally years apart.
No, it would be interesting to watch these films without obviously the year or 2 years where you forget everything that happened. I mean, Let's face it, Rise of Skywalker does try and forget everything that happened in The Last Jedi because it retcons absolutely fucking everything that happens.
Then, also, I think when you see it in the cinema, you get that bit of, especially with Force Awakens, that's the first Star Wars film I ever saw in cinema, and, just hearing the opening happen, and it's oh my god.
It is one of those things that nostalgia will just kick in. It's like the Jurassic Park theme. It dares you to be excited to see a new film, even though you know it's going to be crap and nowhere near as good as the originals. It happens. You get the Jurassic Park theme, and you're like, oh.
I've only seen Jurassic World, so.
The rage I feel inside. If I was near you right now, I would deliver a Konami kick straight to your fucking ribcage for that.
My ex forced me to watch it one day.
No, it's not that you've only seen World. It's the fact that you haven't seen the original 3 and that your barometer of everything Jurassic Park includes Chris Pratt.
I like Chris Pratt.
I like Chris Pratt, but he's no Dennis Quaid. Sam Neill, sorry. Oh my god, they're the same fucking actor. They look the same. He's no Sam Neill.
I don't know who either of those people are.
I'm going to have to Google that it is actually Sam Neill in Jurassic Park because I've got a horrible feeling that I'm wrong and I don't want to be wrong. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. 1993 Jurassic Park, Sam Neill. Anyway, we have gone on a slight tangent. Let's bring it screeching back to Stardom. So, first things first, guys, you will notice by the title of this podcast that we are reviewing the first live Stardom show since the Cinderella Tournament, and we'll get into that very, very shortly. But for those who follow the podcast, will know that we were supposed to release a Jungle Kiona retrospective, going back over her feud with Momo Watanabe and Queen's Quest. Unfortunately, we've had to put that back Two reasons, really. The first, obviously, Stardom announced that they will be producing live content again. So, the main focus of this podcast will always be, the live product, the new product, the present product. And secondly, some of the matches that we wanted to watch as context haven't been uploaded to World yet and are very, very difficult to find. So we're going to wait for those to be uploaded to Stardom World, and then once they are, we can release the Jungle Kiona episode. We haven't forgotten about it. It is happening. We're just going to shelve it for now. Chris, anything to add to that?
I miss Jungle.
And after, I'm not going to lie, part of today, or part of this show, should I say, really did bring a tear to my eye.
I realised watching this show that, both my favourites are going to be around, at least for a while. So I need to find a new Stardom, which I'm deciding based on what happened on this show.
Okay, well, speaking of this show, let's dive straight in. So Stardom is again from the 21st of June from Shinkiba First Ring, drawing 100 people. Obviously, Stardom are more than capable of drawing more people than that, but they announced that they would only be releasing a certain amount of tickets, obviously due to the COVID-19 restrictions, which is absolutely fair. And even with 100 people, Chris, the atmosphere was absolutely fine. I didn't feel the show suffered for that at all.
Yeah, we've already had it wasn't social distance, we've already had a limited capacity thing occurring, and that worked fine, apart from when Julia cut a promo. That's just what happens when Julia cuts a promo, so.
We started then with the unit promos, and we went through, because it was announced that Stardom is again was very similar to New Year Dash in New Japan. The card was going to be announced right at the start of the show, and even the talent didn't know what the matches were going to be. We went round all of the factions just to get a little bit of an update from them. Couple of notes from this then. We get the first glimpse of X, the new member of Donna Del Mondo, and we'll talk about her later on. We'll talk about her in the main event. I will just say, Chris, before I move on to the other factions, they really are positioning Donna Del Mondo as the main faction, the dominant faction, the main focus in Stardom at the moment. They certainly feel huge.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I think Julia was a big snipe for them. From people, she seems to be popular before she even got to Stardom. In the Joshi world, it's like a Kento Miyahara jumped to New Japan, kind of.
All Japan.
If he jumped to New Japan.
Oh, if he jumped, I thought you said the Kento Miyahara jump. I apologize. Carry
on. Yeah. So that makes sense. Hiyori's also a great get. She's great. I've actually seen a couple more of the non-Stardom matches now, and I'm looking forward to seeing once you get single programs. And Micah is a good rookie to have in there. So yeah, it's a good step faction, and I can see why they're pushing them to the stars, but also they've been repositioned into this the chaotic neutral role that TCS kind of filled, because TCS are gonna be on the back burner for obvious reasons. So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I can see that.
Right now is what I'm saying.
Don't forget though, okay, I can see what you mean about the chaotic normal for Donna Del Mondo. I think in the main event you can see that they're sort of aligning themselves as de facto heels, behind Oida Tai, going for the mask and things like that. They felt imperious, they felt huge, and Julia, who, anyone who's listened to this podcast will know, I certainly wasn't very hot on, and I know Chris still isn't. I'm coming round to her now. She felt like a big deal in that main event, and here the entire unit felt really, really big. Couple more notes then. Oida Tai, it was just the three of them, Saki Kashima, Natsuko Tora, and Natsuko Sumiya, and they just moaned that there wasn't any chairs and then walked off, which was fucking brilliant. I really enjoyed that. Sumiya just looked round and went, "Why are there no chairs?" And Tora just walked off.
It reminds me, do you remember in last year's G1 where after every match, when Jay White would go back for a post-match interview, there wouldn't be a chair and he'd be shouting about the lack of chair? And then the one time a young boy got him a chair, he didn't sit in the chair.
Brilliant. We then cut round to Tokyo Cyber Squads, led by Konami. There's no Jungle Kiona, and we'll find out why, obviously, later on. She's with Ruaka and Rina. Death and Rina. And they just ask if Hannah's watching and say they're going to try the best. Again, our thoughts go out to everyone in Stardom regarding Hannah's death and her unit, because it must be awful for Jungle, Konami, Death, Ruaka, Rina, those people that knew her best. It must be horrendous, especially going back into the ring. And we saw so many touching tributes throughout this show. It must be horrendous for these people.
Yeah.
We then cut to Stars, who they make light to the fact that obviously they're a couple of members down. One out through injury, and obviously Arisa being injured. They then just jump out of shot, shouting, "Check it out," which, okay. It seems whenever they do promos together that Tam Nakano is more the spokesperson than Mayu, even though Mayu is the de facto leader.
Yeah. Her or Starlight. Starlight sometimes seems to take control.
Yeah, no, she did. And I am actually going to say later on, again, talking about the main event later on in the show, Starlight Kid has come on exponentially, both, confidence-wise and in-ring, in my opinion. I think she's come on leaps and bounds. This was followed by the 10-bell salute from Hannah and for Hannah. And it was hard watching. I think the segment lasted 4 minutes, and it felt longer. It was awful. They had a picture of Hannah on the screen. Obviously, the entire of the roster lined up around the ring. Then after this, Jungle Kiona made her way into the ring and basically said that she wasn't ready to return to in-ring action. She was due to wrestle on this show. She thought she would be able to wrestle on this show, but she couldn't do it, and I absolutely appreciate that. I don't think any Stardom fan in the world is looking at her and going, "No, you need to wrestle." Everyone completely understands where she's coming from that. She promises that she will definitely be back, and when she is back, she will convey her feelings properly in the ring. But for now, she just can't wrestle. She tells everyone to get ready and to enjoy Stardom because the rest of the people will put on a fantastic show. And she leaves, and the show starts. Chris, what were your thoughts on Jungle's announcement?
Makes sense. Again, as much as I'm going to miss her, she's my favourite in Stardom. If she's not ready, I don't want her to force herself, because that's just going to end up being worse for everyone.
Absolutely. It would have surprised me if Jungle would have taken part in this show. It surprised me slightly that Konami did, but Jungle, from what I believe is or was Hannah's closest friend, so this is an incredibly hard time, a real period of change for Stardom and for Jungle, definitely. So we kicked into our first match, which had Rina defeat Hina and Natsu Samir in 8 minutes and 55 seconds with the Hydrangea. First thing I just wanted to note here, Chris, is that we had new graphics.
We did, but they're quite good. Normally when Stardom changes something, it takes a while for it to get up to snuff, but these were good. These were fine. Into it.
Yeah, absolutely. We had not only the faction logo, but we had the name, obviously the Twitter handle, and then come the end of the match, we had it again with the time and the name of the move that they finished the match with, which is very, very helpful when you don't have English commentary.
Commentary at all.
Or commentary at all, yeah, absolutely. Chris, what did you think of this match then?
It was fine. It was your standard opener with the children. How old are Rina and Hina? Hang on, I don't actually know.
14.
13 years old. And yeah, but it amazes me how solid they are. For example, Hina has a really good judo throw.
Yes, she does. Yeah, you're right, she does.
It surprised me a lot because you look at, say, the Brazilian girl who was in NXT, Taya Conti or something.
Yeah, Tenori Conti.
Yeah, so she wasn't an especially good wrestler, but she did a few judo throws, and people who fancied her were you're great because you feel legit. And she didn't. She just did shit judo throws. So I was like, here, we're doing actual judo throws.
Yeah, I thought both Rina and Hina looked great. I thought they highlighted Rina a lot more in this match.
Yeah, well, it was basically Hannah's people, so makes sense.
And when she entered the ring, she had the tribute for Hannah, the way that Hannah would enter the ring with her over the top of the ropes with the hands outstretched, which I thought was a nice touch. And then we had something later on, which we'll get into. Natsu was just Natsu.
Yeah, I didn't realise how much I missed.
I honestly don't think I'm ever going to get used to her sexy Bronco Buster.
What gets me is that she does it in matches with children.
Yeah, yeah, it's just weird. I thought not only did, because I've noted that I'm taking notes about Hina's judo throws, but Rina had some really, really, really solid looking STOs, some really solid looking submissions, and then eventually managed to tap out Hina with the hydrangea, which of course was Hannah's submission move, which she locked in really, really well. Looked amazing. They gave this match a lot of time, 8 minutes and 55 seconds.
Yeah, that's really long for a kids match, but they did well. I'm not saying this match isn't going to blow you away. In fact, of all the matches on this card, it's probably the most skippable.
I mean, I disagree, Chris, but we'll get into that in a minute.
Oh, I have thoughts on that match, but yeah, no, this was fine. 5 out of 10, solid, but nothing especially sticks with you past the Hannah tribute.
No, really, really lovely Hannah tribute, and obviously at the end of the match, Rina got really upset, which again was heartbreaking to watch. But yeah, a good, solid match. I gave it 4, but I'm willing to concede 5. That's absolutely fine. Then we had Death Yamasan defeating Saki Kashima in 5 minutes 11 seconds with a crucifix pin. I'm going to let you go first, Chris, because I have thoughts.
Right, so first of all, I did enjoy this match. It was an enjoyable match, if not a good... This wasn't a good... just Death Yam... I said it to you, Death Yamasan's a Pokemon with confusion.
100%.
And 100%. I did like that the ref joined in.
Do you know what, though? And I texted this to you earlier on. The thing that really endeared this match to me was Saki Kashima, who's, still quite new into her heel turn, having joined Ueda Tai, that she pissed herself throughout this entire match. She could not keep a straight face throughout this entire match, and it made me laugh throughout it.
Yeah, she was like, I was literally challenging for the title 2 shows ago, and now I'm
here. I thought both women looked like they were having fun, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, it's probably the best I've seen Saki, just because when Saki's serious, she bursts the fucking hole off of me.
We've always said... Go on, sorry.
I always say it's the Dolph Ziggler effect, where she does her moves really well, but whatever she does between those moves, I'm just bored.
Yeah, and I think putting her in the ring with someone who is very character driven, you know what I mean, such as Death Yamasan, it forces her to be slightly out of her comfort zone, and I think both of us agree that we much prefer Kashima as a heel than a run-of-the-mill babyface in Stars.
She has everything that Bushiroad would want in someone we're going to push. She has a good look. She she has some sort of charisma. People do like her, and she has good moves. She can put on a fairly exciting match. I think she'd do well in the high speed division actually, but I don't care. I find it so hard to care.
The best thing that I can compare her to in New Japan terms is Yoshihashi.
Yeah, no, she's the Yoshihashi of... Except, I'm trying to think... I don't know. I don't think Saki could pull a passable match out of a Toga Makabe or a Tanzan equivalent, which Hashi did the other day on the Cup. So...
There was a couple of near falls. It was basically all pandering to the crowd. Saki managed to get the referee to join in with Death's bollocks, which was quite funny. Death, honestly, I don't like the character at all, but I cannot help but laugh. You know, when she's hanging through the ropes and she getting the shit beaten out of her and she's emoting through her rock hands and you can tell how she feels because if she's sad, the rock hands are slow, but if she's happy, the rock hands are going. And I hate it, but I can't stop laughing at it. And then we got Saki joining in with Death, and you know, every time Saki was shouting to the crowd, you got Death mocking her by just shouting the word death after everything she said. When we got into the actual moves, we had a dangerous fucking Tiger Driver attempt.
Wasn't great, was it?
It was very, very botched. I was like, oh my god, we've killed Death Yamasan. But thankfully, everything was okay. Death...
Great.
Say again?
The ending was creative.
I really liked that. Death blocking a My Emblem and then covering it for the Crucifix pin for the win. Now, this is where I imagine we're going to differ, because what did you give this out of 10?
3.
Okay, we're not going to disagree too much. I give it a 2. And that might seem really, really low, especially as I quite enjoyed this match. But all of the wrestling took place either in the corners or at the ropes, you know, trying to get the crowd involved, which is fine, you know, that has its place. But if we're judging it purely on the wrestling in ring, there wasn't a lot of it to start with. This match only lasted 5 minutes. There was that really botchy-looking Tiger Driver, and that was basically it. I don't think we can really give it much higher, Chris.
Yeah, no, it was a bit of a shit match with a cool creative ending. So
yeah, I'm gonna put my foot down and give it 2. I'll be honest. I'm gonna be that dickhead.
You only ever seem to put your foot down when it's a negative rating, but when it's a positive rating.
Yeah, I do. You're right. When it's a positive rating, I tend to concede just because I like being positive, Chris. We then get our third match, a singles match, which saw Konami defeat Natsuko Tora by disqualification in 9 minutes and 25 seconds. Chris, opinion?
I really enjoyed this match. Like, the back and forth was better than I expected. I'm starting to see Tora's worth now, where she's just sort of a bruiser, like a Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe type.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's funny because like she's very clearly not all there in her head, and I think that sort of helps. Like, she doesn't look like she wants to be there.
No, she's very no nonsense.
She looks like she goes home, listens to the Pixies, and cries.
Hey, the Pixies are great.
The Pixies are great, to be fair. And it's weird because we weren't popular at the time. It's almost like we wrote this song and been like, "You're not gonna like this, but your kids are gonna fucking love this." Anyway, and then Konami's Konami. Like, I love Konami because she's very clearly can take actual like learnings from like grappling arts and sheet fighting and incorporates it into her in-ring work. Like, she sets trap like an MMA fights would and stuff like that. And like, she throws kicks like she's actually trying to hurt someone, and I think it's really good. Makes it dangerous. I wouldn't mind if she got a title shot. Actually, I haven't minded in the past when she got a title shot. But also, did we have to hang her?
Yeah, it was. It's a weirder time, man. It's gonna happen.
I do like that though, because like they kind of Odatai sort of became a bit funny. Like, you know, like Natsu and Sesh and Moth and Kagetsu got a bit too cute for their own good. And then so like this sort of solidifies Natsuko Tora as, I don't give a fuck, you're gonna die now.
Yeah, pretty much. That's how I saw it, and I think that'll help Oedo-Tai. I mean, they were a little bit light, obviously without being Jamie, but when they entered, they looked legit. They looked legit badasses. You know, even Saki. You know, they looked the business when they stood on the ramp.
Natsu had a fucking match at the beginning of the night where she was sexually assaulting children, and she looked like a badass.
Konami obviously entered, had a moment of silent prayer for Hannah, and then she seemed to be more aggressive in this match than I've seen her. Those kicks to Tora when Tora was wrapped up in the ropes, they echoed. They were fucking stiff as fuck.
Yeah, got a bit uncomfortable.
It did a little bit. We then got a ref bump. Tora puts the chain on Konami and Frog Splashed onto it. I don't know how much added pain that would give Konami. Surely that would just hurt Tora more. But the ref refuses to count it because the chain's been used, and then we get the aforementioned hanging spot. Chris, what did you give it?
High 6, low 7.
Okay, I gave it a high 6 because ultimately, I think Tora benefited from the Cinderella tournament, having that run through it, the legitimate heel, that person that you have to beat, that dominant heel. And here she carried that on. I think we are going to see a Tora title shot sooner rather than later, I imagine.
Challenging Arisa at No People Game.
Yeah, but I imagine she is going to get a red belt title shot sooner rather than later, is what I mean.
Yeah, well, May is a natural babyface and Tora's a natural heel. So, to be fair, I think that would be good. I think in sort of the same way as... I'm trying to think of an example in New Japan. But, it's not going to be the best match, but, the fact that there's such a natural obstacle makes it compelling.
Well, I've got an example in the main event of Mayu working with someone who is not slow. That's unfair, but obviously a slower person when she was working with Maker in the main event, and Mayu is obviously considerably quicker. And there were some exchanges there that looked absolutely beautiful. So that disparity between the two could work very well.
It definitely wouldn't be beautiful. I mean, in Natsuko, she just hung Konami, but...
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I imagine it will be a better match than we anticipate, is what I mean.
Yeah, as we never really see her in the context of a big title match. She's normally just being a bruiser. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you got seagulls by you?
I live on the coast. Yeah, sorry, my window's open.
I didn't know you lived on the coast. Sorry, I just heard the seagulls. Seagulls making a run in there. So the semi-main led to a really, really interesting dynamic with a tag team match with the Queen's Quest team of Azumi and Momo Watanabe drawing with the Queen's Quest team of Saya Kamitani and Utami Hayashishita, drawing time limit draw 20 minutes. Chris, opinion?
First of all, Utami and Saya's new gear. In Saya's case, the new gear was definitely needed because what the fuck was her old gear?
It wasn't that. The English version of the Stardom Twitter account posted all the unit pictures, and it was. I don't think people knew that Saya was with Queen's Quest, and she'd just been superimposed on the Queen's Quest one, and you've got all quite the dark gear because obviously you've got Azumi who wears black and blue, you've got Momo who wears black, blue, and white, you've got Utami who wears very dark colours, and there you've got Saya Kamitani who was wearing lime green and yellow and pink, and hello, I'm here! And she was, it just completely did not fit with Queen's Quest at all.
It's incredible because Saya's been with them for ages. She was she's it was back in No People Gate where we challenged where she came out and challenged B and Jamie, which led to the best promo of the year where B3 was like, you're a loser and teaming with some Gopai young girl isn't going to fucking change that. But, yeah, no, Saya now looks like she actually belongs in Queen's Quest.
Yes, 100%. 100%. And this match went a long way to cementing that as well.
Yeah. Also, Utami's new gear, I'm not quite sure how to feel about it because I liked her old gear.
I think it's an upgrade.
I'm not sure if it's an upgrade. I feel like it's more of a sidestep than an upgrade. For example, it's like when Okada started wearing the trousers.
I don't think it caused that much outrage.
I mean, no, but less people watch this.
You're putting less people watching it just because of the gear, are you?
No, not just because of the gear. But, all I'm saying, have you seen Okada's gear? He's radiant.
Right. Opinions on the match, then?
Oh, this is great. I loved Azumi bouncing off of Utami. like I'll always be here for that. Like this started sort of like the exhibition match you'd expect it to be, and then near the end, Momo and Utami especially were just destroying each other, and Azumi and Saya just basically existed to break up pins. It was like the dynamic between in the Stan Hansen Terry Gordy versus Tenryu and Kawada match that we did on the Classic.
Okay, yeah, I agree with you on that. To be honest, this match, going into it, you got three very, very established stars. And I know that Utami's only been wrestling for 2 years, but she feels like a more established star. And there was moments where tall Saya, I felt, was maybe 1 or 2 steps behind. And that's not a negative on her. That's more a glowing indictment of the other 3 people in the ring. I mean, the speed at which Momo and Azumi were working, Momo especially, she was on a different plane in this match. But I thought Saya held her own beautifully, and I thought this match elevated her as well, which I think might have been part of the main reason for this match. She does need to work on her moonsault, which was a little bit lacking. But other than that, she had a great range of brutal-looking submissions.
Yeah. Just, again, no one looked bad in this match. Everyone was giving and taking just the right amount. I like the story of this match because, essentially, Saya came out to team with Utami right after Utami and Momo failed to get the tag belts. So Momo was a bit angry. So, like, this is basically Saya and Utami trying to make a case of they should be the tag team.
Yeah. I think if we were to have any combination of these 4 ladies as tag team challengers, and I think we are probably going to get a variation of this as tag team challengers very, very shortly, I'd be happy to see any, and that includes Saya as well, because I thought, despite the fact that, she's not quite at the level of a Momo yet, very, very few are. So, she kept up well, and there was good chemistry between them all as well. I thought the exchanges between Momo and Utami, oh my god, it just looked so fucking good.
Yeah. I love, like, in terms of a tag team, I love the dynamic of the high flyer with the big bruiser, which is what Saya and Utami are.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Utami really, really powerful. It looks like she's put on quite a lot of muscle. So she looks like a real bruiser now.
I think part of that is there's less of her attire. So, like, she looks bigger by comparison.
What? Really?
Yeah, I literally think that's what it is, because she doesn't seem to me to be much bigger than she was. Like when you look at her next to Arisa back in February.
Oh no, yeah, but Arisa is quite small in comparison anyway.
Well, yeah, but we had Azumi in this match, who's like 3'2".
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
Momo's not that tall either, I don't think.
No, but she's stocky.
She's 5'1", is Momo.
Yeah, but she's stocky, I think. She's not...
She is stocky.
Skinny.
No, she's not. But also, oh my god, how hard was... I sometimes felt like Momo was trying to kill Utami.
There were moments where I think there was a particular exchange. It was about a quarter of the way into the match. And Momo was in the ring with Saya. And Saya had done something, and she wasn't quite at the pace of Momo, and basically she was on her knees, and Momo slapped her in the face as though to go, if you're going to be in my fucking unit, you best step up. And then just the pace with which they had the next following exchange was great, and she was like that with Utami as well. There was one moment when Utami was sat in the corner, and Momo ran at her, and it was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, because she's like, she is actually going to fucking kill her.
It did get really worrying.
It did. Saya managed to just break up A Peach Sunrise, which ultimately led to the match being called a time limit draw. I loved this match. I loved the energy it was fought with. I loved the chemistry that all 4 women have. I loved the team of Azumi and Momo, and I thought Saya was the main beneficiary of this match. She really was elevated by being in the ring with these, and I look forward to seeing what she does later on. What did you give this?
I gave it an 8. Loved it.
Yeah, same here. I honestly thought it was great.
Is it Stardom tag match? No, it's not, because the Jungle / Momo versus Kagetsu and May, which is probably my... Oh, wait, no, the AEW. Probably my favorite Japanese tag match. Violent Giants. It was a really good tag match.
Just hearing the sort of the things in your head go down then was brilliant. Yeah, my favorite tag match. My favorite Japanese tag match. It was a good tag match. We then get to the main event, which was the Stars team of Mayu Iwatani, Saya Iida, Starlight Kid, and Tam Nakano being defeated by the Donna Del Mondo team of Julia, Maika, Shiori, and their new member, Himeka, the Jumbo Princess.
She is massive.
She is... I mean, she did open with Saya Iida, which, sort of emphasised that, but yeah, she is absolutely enormous.
5'7", so she's I'm pretty sure that's taller than Gav.
Well, I'm 6'1", so yeah, she's not too far away from me.
She's about as tall as my brother, actually.
She looked enormous. She looked really, really imposing. I mean, her nickname is the Jumbo Princess, which gives you some indication of just how big the girl is.
But we don't have we don't have that monster heel. Like, Julia's big, but in terms of build, is more like a Kevin Nash type thing. And people like Jumbo and Utami and Tora are bruisers, but they're not giants.
No, not at all. And I think Himeka brings something completely different to the Donna Del Mondo stable and to the Stardom roster, to be perfectly honest.
How it's weird how versatile it is. Because Donna Del Mondo is sort of the LIJ, where you have the fan favorite leader and then a mismatch curated bunch. If this stable feels like Julia handpicked them, because in storyline she did, but
well, yeah, because all three of them are freelancers, because Himeka, she's wrestled from everywhere from Pro Wrestling Wave to Ice Ribbon to Marvelous to Seedling to AGZ Act. I don't know how to say that promotion, but she's wrestled there. I've written it down. I can't read my own writing. But she's wrestled everywhere, and obviously the two Shiori and Maika were brought in earlier on, and they were both freelancers as well. So yeah, it does. It feels like she selected them. They fit very well. They had good chemistry here, especially considering it was Himeka's first match. And yeah, I think she's got good things in store for her. I look forward to an inevitable match between her and Jamie Hayter.
Oh my god. That's
yeah,
gonna be nasty.
That is. And especially as she can actually challenge for the SWA Championship.
Yeah, Donna Del Mondo actually has a lot. I'm looking forward to seeing what Shiori does with people. There was a tag match at one of the last Gorokins before he went into lockdown, where her and Momo had an exchange, and they did the Ishii Shibata thing, where they'd sit down and invite each other to kick their back.
I must admit, of everyone on Donna Del Mondo's team, obviously I've already said that Julia, has grown on me. Shiori is absolutely amazing.
She is great. Apart, your only problem with her seems to be that she's too loud.
Well, actually, I've written in my notes that she wasn't too bad in this. It seems that Julia was channeling her inner Shiori, because Julia was louder. I thought Shiori was okay today. Didn't bother me today as much as it bothered me in the Cinderella Tournament.
Oh, it really bothered you with Cinderella. We spent so much time on you go, she's so loud.
It was, yeah. It started to take away from how good she was doing in the ring, because it was just shut up.
Mike, I like sort of Mike's style. It's closest thing is Konami, but Konami goes more for the legs, and Micah goes for armbars, which makes sense because she does armbars. But she's in Taka Michinoku's promotion.
2AW.
Just
Tap Out. I don't know a lot about them outside Stardom. I don't follow.
I only know about Indies. Just Tap Out because her and Utami had a match on Just Tap Out.
Was it any good?
It's fine.
Fair enough. We opened with Saya Iida and Himika, as we said, which was very, very entertaining because Himika was very much the look how tall I am, look how small you are with Saya Iida. We had a test of strength, which obviously Saya Iida couldn't reach, so she stamped on Himika's foot.
I love that. That's my favourite spot of the year.
It was very entertaining. The Starlight versus Shiori exchange, right at the very start, that pace. Starlight Kid has improved so much for me because right at the start of when we started doing this podcast, the issue that I had with Starlight Kid was that she seemed to telegraph moves. She was great, everything was crisp, but she seemed to telegraph what was coming next. It was very obvious, whereas that seems to have gone completely now. She's quick, she's crisp, everything seemed to go at 100 mile an hour, and yet that started with a match in the first round of the Cinderella Tournament against Momo, which I raved about. I thought that was a really good match. And here, again, with Shiori, just absolutely fantastic. I thought Starlight Kid was a real standout in this match.
Yeah. Her moonsault, her standing moonsault is great.
Oh, isn't it just? Best in the business.
Like, before when she'd do it, it looked like she was going to land on her head, but like now she gets the perfect rotation. It's great. Saya Iida very occasionally turns into like a 4'11" Walter.
She's honestly, I haven't seen a lot of Saya Iida apart from the fact that she's Captain Stardom. Spoilers.
And Super Stardom Machine.
And Super Stardom Machine again. Spoilers. But she's great. She's just a pocket rocket. I can see her being like just an Ishii, just a small squat, beat the shit out of you style wrestler. Be brilliant.
She does scare me just a little bit.
She scares me in the same way Tam Nakano scares me.
Oh, Tam Nakano. Like, I've said this about a few people, but she is literally like if a Hello Kitty came to life and started beating the shit out of people.
Yeah, and it's quite funny because if you follow Tam on Twitter, she seems to be quite a, not a reserved, but, quiet, quite subtle person. And then she came into the ring today and her exchanges with Julia, oh my God, they were like full on.
As soon as they came in, Julia grabs Tam's hair, Tam grabs Julia's hair, and they start forearming the shit out of each other. And then like it just ends with Tam just slapping Julia. It's like, stop that.
Honestly, plug a Julia versus Tam feud into my veins.
I think that's where they're going, because I think that's going to... I predicted this already, and we'll get on to major belts after this review. But I think that's where the white belt direction is heading.
Well, we both said that, didn't we? We got there in different ways. I think I had some manner of tournament that led to a Tam versus Julia final. And I think you got to a Tam versus Julia match as well.
Yeah. Basically, how I had it was, we still don't know what we're going to do for white belt, but basically how I had it, Julia still has her wish. So since the title is vacant, she can wish for title onto her, which would be an excellent heel move. And then Tam will be first challenger. Tam loses, so Tam is now in a situation where she's chasing it. So she goes into the 5-star going, I'm going to win it. I'm going to win the 5-star, win the white belt, go off to the white belt and do like the Goto Shibata thing.
Yeah, okay. I think that could work. Just genuinely everything there. There was one moment where, and I think it might have been the first exchange, where Starlight Kid is on the floor and Julia and Tam are having this argument between the ropes. And obviously Tam is on the outside and Julia's on the inside, and they're having this fight, they're punching each other, and all the while you forget that even though Tam's on the outside, Julie's on the inside, and she is standing on Starlight Kid the entire time. And it really made me laugh that she's having this full-on fight with Julia through the ropes whilst using Starlight Kid as some kind of bench. It was quite funny.
Used to do, in like Shinkawa tag matches with Arisa, she'd do that. She'd like slam Arisa onto people.
Honestly, this match, it really helped me really get on board with Julia. I didn't like the fact that she kept targeting the mask. I hate when people target the mask.
Yeah, it's just like it's a bit overplayed, isn't it? It's an easy way to get heat, but like everyone does it.
God, yeah, absolutely.
It's sort of like what It's what I like in New Japan that it's a disqualification if you take off someone's mask because it means like you're only going to do it if you're so like only people like Kanemaru go for the mask. It's great.
Yeah, and it wasn't overplayed. I think it was only one spot, but I've never liked it in whatever promotion I've looked at. I know it's the ultimate sign of heel because obviously in Lucha Libre it's the ultimate sign of betrayal to have your mask taken off, but I hate it. I've always hated it. Quite a few tributes. Obviously, we had Julia doing the running in place big boots whilst yelling Hannah and hitting Tam Nakano with that, which I thought was really, really nice. And then we had Tam Nakano hitting the 1399 off the top rope in tribute to Arisa as well, which I thought was really good. So we had tributes to both people who are no longer with the promotion. Mayu just seemed happy to be there. She wasn't in the match for too long, but when she was, she bounced around like a firework.
I think that's just how most people describe Mayu. She's like, oh, she's just fine being here.
Honestly, she smiled the entire time. She was a house of fire. The biggest of big lucha arm drags on Micah, which looked amazing. It was just great.
It was. I was like, oh, this is new for Mayu. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it looked amazing. Looked really, really good. The match obviously wrapped up then with Himeka getting Saya Ida to tap out with a torture rack.
That was nasty.
It looked really, really brutal. She softened her up, picked her up, and she got devil eyes, which was quite cool.
She looked like she broke her in half.
She did. Yeah, you're right. She did. I really like her. I like the dynamic that you've got in Donna Del Mondo at the moment.
I think like your charismatic leader, your technician in Suri, your rookie in Micah, and your muscle in Himeka. I'm interested to see what Himeka's going to be like when she gets to a singles match for her.
Yeah.
But again, really good in these tag matches, really charismatic. But for me, it's seeing as she goes into a singles match with anyone remotely under her level, it just doesn't work. So like, I'm curious what it's going to be like with Himeka.
I don't see her at she's 2 years experience. She's only been in the ring for 2 years.
Well, so's Itami, and she's great.
Yeah, no, I'm not using that as an excuse, and I don't think she's bad at all. But I'm just saying, she's 23 years old. She's had 2 years wrestling experience, so she's very young. She's got a lot of time to grow as a wrestler. I think at the moment I see it as not lower mid card, but that mid card monster. So you're looking at an SWA sort of that sort of realm. That Jamie Hayter sort of realm. And then I think eventually she'll be pushed towards that white and red belt scene, but I don't think she's there yet.
Yeah, but she has time. She'll probably do that at Stardom. Every time I'm a bit down on someone, unless they're Saki, they're really good in the next year. So
yeah, no, I agree with you. They had to pull Tam Nakano and Julia away from each other, so yeah, like we've said, it does appear that we are getting that feud, and I imagine that's where we're going to get for the white belt whenever new Stardom dates are announced. I gave this an 8. I thoroughly enjoyed this match.
I gave it an 8 as well. And I'm really not sure if it's just because we've missed Stardom.
No, I mean, it's a brand new show. We gave one of them a 2, Chris. It's not like we've, been over the top. I just think that the Queen's Quest match was a legitimately good wrestling match, wrestled at a fantastic pace between some really, really good wrestlers. In my opinion, it was match of the night. I don't think you can argue that. I think anyone that watched it has said it was a great match.
It's top 10 Stardom matches of the year for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the main event, though it probably wasn't on par with the semi-main in wrestling stakes, it set up stories, it got people over. There wasn't any dead space, even though it went 23 minutes. Everything flowed very well, and there was good storyline advancement in it, and it reset a lot of things. So yeah, I can't see why we'd be overrating it. I think we've rated it perfectly finely. Which is absolutely a word. Finally is a word.
I've picked my two new Stardom favourites since my old Stardom favourites aren't here right now.
Okay. Please go ahead.
So it's Utami to replace the Bruiser.
Makes sense.
Also, I'm going to throw in Def Yamasan just to annoy you.
That does annoy me, right? Carry on.
And then Tam, because it's a bit. I don't want to say May because like you pick May, and quite frankly, I think that's a basic bitch move. But it's like saying, "Oh, my favourite's Okada." Fuck off.
Wow, unnecessary. So overall, Chris, if I was to ask you to give this show a rating out of 10, what would you give it?
Well, I think 2 out of 10's at the end. That's more than you get from a takeover nowadays. So 6 or 7 out of 10 because there wasn't a ton of stakes here.
No, I'm going to give it a 7. I think you're right. You can skip the first 3 matches. To be perfectly honest, you only need to watch the semi-main and main event. I think there is enough here storyline wise to warrant a 7. I don't think there's anything that would drag it up to an 8. Konami versus Tora is a good match, but nothing blow away. And then Death Yamasan versus Saki is funny, but if you're looking for flat out wrestling, that is not the match you go to.
You're telling me that Death Yamasan couldn't shoot with the best of them?
Well, it's funny you should mention that actually, Chris, because we're going to go into something now, and I've got Death Yamasan ending with the red belt, so...
Do you?
No, absolutely fucking not. Of course
I don't.
It's
funny, but Death Yamasan has an 8 out of 10 rating on Cage Match.
I imagine that was before the Death Yamasan gimmick, though.
Well, okay, so you look at ratings by year. It's 6 out of 10 in 2013, but then it's 9 out of 10 in 2014, 8 out of 10 in 2015, 10 out of 10 in 2018. What the fuck was she doing in 2018?
Well, she hasn't been Death Yamasan for that long, though, has she?
No, she only became Death Yamasan last year.
Well, there you go. It's probably. I imagine, unfortunately, this gimmick is probably going to drag her overall rating down. But there you go. So
she was doing a lot in 2018. Wow. Sorry, continue.
No, it's all right.
Big Japan. Was she doing death matches? Sorry.
Death Yamasan's been in death matches.
Well, she's been in Big Japan. I don't know if it was death matches, but she's also been in FMW, who basically exclusively did death matches.
Haven't we looked at this before, though? And she is deceptively old. Isn't she like 40?
She's 39, yeah. Wrestle 1 as well. She's been there. Kaientai. She's been all over the place. Art Girls, Pure J. Literally everywhere. Oh, mate, she's wrestled in New Japan.
Really?
Yeah, in 2002, she wrestled for New Japan.
Wow.
Pro Wrestling Eve in Britain. So, Sendai Girls, DDT. She's wrestled everywhere.
There you go. Who knew? Anyway, so on the 26th of June, the Stardom cast got tagged in something by @ShutUpWilf, which was very, very simple. Picture the red belt and book the red belt to January 4th, 2021. Now, at the moment, as it stands, we're recording this on the 28th of June, there have been no further Stardom dates announced. I hope that they are round the corner. Obviously, I know that with everything that's gone on, Stardom is still in a period of great change. We'll see as to whether new dates come out. But again, at the time of recording, nothing been announced here. However, I've got quite a few ideas, but looking at the thread that Wilf put up, there is Ken, who is @DisgrunScholar. If you want to go and follow him, he did a full 7-page rundown of what he would do, and it's in detail. It's a really, really good rundown of how he would book it, and I actively encourage you to check it out. Nag Driver did one as well. There's some really, really good booking ideas. There's some very talented Stardom bookers in that thread, so please go and check that out @ShutUpWilf. It's also in our thread as well. But Chris, obviously, with that show we've just reviewed, only been 6 matches. I wanted to challenge you. Basically, me and Chris have come up with from here to January 4th, 2021 for the red belt, and we're both going to give you our rundowns, and we'll see whose is better, because we're nothing if not wildly, wildly competitive. So, Chris, only because whenever you go first, I tend to steal bits of your ideas. So, I'm going to go first, if that's all right.
It's all right. I'm sick of you stealing my fucking amazing booking decisions.
Well, let's be honest. Out of our New Japan Cup booking, mine's just gone completely out the fucking window, hasn't it? So
Suzuki's going to win. Suzuki's out.
Suzuki out in the first round.
And then you have Ibushi facing Taichi, and let's be real, John. Let's be real, Rob.
Who the fuck is John?
He's my friend, and I don't know why I said John. To be real, Rob, Taichi is going to beat that Jobber Ibushi, and then take the tag team championships off of the Jobber and the Old Man just to make the Old Man cry before he dies. So
wow, there you go.
Strong words. Like what things out of me.
Right, so nothing again date-wise has been announced, so I'm going to take some liberties here. So bear with me. So I'm just going to go from Korakuen to Korakuen. I am going to change one of them though, very, very quickly. No, I'm not. I'm going to stick with it. Right, so we start in July next month, obviously, their Korakuen show, and Mayu defends against Natsuko Tora, and defeats Natsuko Tora. Another defense for Mayu. We head into August, and Utami is the next challenger. Utami puts up a really, really big fight, takes Mayu to her absolute limit, but ultimately Mayu wins, heading into the 5-star Grand Prix in September. Now, this is where I might need to talk out loud as I'm booking it because I can't read my own notes. So, some things to note about the 5-star. In one block, you have got Mayu, Jungle, and Utami. And then in the other block, you have got Konami, Momo, Sayori, and then filled out with all other members of the roster. So, Mayu takes defeats to Jungle Kiona and to Utami in her block, whilst the other block is won by Momo, who is only defeated by Konami. So we have our 5-star final with red block winner Jungle Kiona and blue block winner Momo Watanabe. So that is the 5-star heading into October. The first thing I want to note is that a lot of people have got Jungle to win the 5-star. I think that's great. I hope that does happen. However, I'm going to go a little bit more storyline driven. So I'm going to have the final of the 5-star, and I'm going to have Momo defeat Jungle. And again, it sort of plays into the storyline that Jungle and Momo have had going in, and it's just that one more nail in the coffin, so to speak, that Momo will always have that edge over Jungle Kiona. So we head into October, and it is Momo Watanabe versus Mayu. And again, don't forget that Mayu has already defeated Momo at the anniversary show. Momo, I should say, the only person she takes a defeat to, can't remember if I said this, in her block is Konami. Momo defeats Mayu for the red belt in October. We then have a couple of defenses. Momo will beat Konami in November. She won't only beat Konami, but she will savage Konami as well. Really, really go above and beyond to hurt Konami. Really, really force through that. Will do anything to win, to retain this belt that she now has. Next defense is then against Sayori, who she will defeat again. We then get into January, and who should be challenging for that belt but Jungle. And Jungle, on the back of seeing her friend Konami beaten to within an inch of her life, the very thought of Momo having defeated her yet again off the back of their whole angle that we'll be covering in another podcast. Jungle wants one more shot at the red belt. Momo relents, gives her that one more shot at the red belt, basically claiming that you can do whatever you want. I'm always going to be the better wrestler. And then finally, after an absolutely hellacious match that would blow everyone away because it's Momo versus Jungle, and let's face it, everybody wants that match. Jungle wins the red belt, gaining redemption not only for the history in through all things Momo, Queen's Quest, and Jungle Kiona, but also she establishes herself as a top star, firmly establishing herself as the fourth pillar of Stardom. So, Chris, what do you think?
I really like that, mostly because Jungle wins, and I'm always here for that. But also, I've done mine without Jungle just because we don't know when Jungle's going to be ready.
Yeah, I mean, I've taken liberties with that. Obviously, I've left her out of Jungle. I've left her out of July and August. I hope that she will be back in September, assuming the 5-star Grand Prix is going to be in September. Again, it's until we know dates, Chris, until we know what is where and things like that.
Exactly.
All of it's speculation.
But I'm just running off the assumption of Jungle's not going to be ready for the 5-star, and we're not going to have Gaijins for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I've assumed that we are not going to have Gaijins for the rest of the year either. I've assumed that we won't see B and we won't see Jamie.
Yeah, that's fair. So, for me, starting next month in July, I think you need to go with someone from Donna Del Mondo since they picked up a win against Mayu's team.
Sorry, just quickly, I know I shouldn't have interrupted. That's exactly what I was changing. I was going to move everything one up, and I was going to have Sayuri in July and have Natsuka in August, and then have Utami beat Mayu in the 5-star, but yeah, carry on.
Right, so Tam very clearly has beef with Julia, so Julia is not getting the shot. So since this is essentially a bit of a filler defense, I think it would be a great showcase for Sayuri, who hasn't really had a chance to have that big, long, well, not long, but like a match longer than 10 minutes, a singles match. So I think that would be a great place to have it. And then, Rob, you know who turns up after that match? Comes out to challenge May.
If you say Death Yama-san,
no,
I swear to God.
It's Takumi Ihara, who beat May earlier in the year.
Oh, from Marvelous.
Yes, who beat Mayu earlier in the year, and after the match, Mayu says, you were absolutely free to challenge for this belt. So she comes out with her Marvelous flag and challenges Mayu for the belt. Because Mayu needs to get a win back.
Interesting. Okay.
So that is set up for next month's Korakuen, where they have a rematch from their... It's my Stardom match of the year. Rob still hasn't fucking watched it. And May will win. Barely. This will play going forward. Now, going into September and 5-star, this is where it gets a bit weird for me, because I am saying only one person's going to beat May, and that's Julia.
So, just to clarify, you think that Tam will take the white belt and Julia will then be free to challenge for the red belt?
See, not quite. So what's going to happen? Julia, with the white belt, she's going to be the only person to defeat Mayu, go undefeated for the rest of her block. Draws keep Mayu out of the finals, and the finals is Tam versus Julia.
Ooh, okay.
Tam beats Julia. So not only is she setting herself up for a championship match whenever she wants, she's also beating the person she wants to challenge. Now, she's not going to challenge for a couple months because Julia, who as the only person who beat the champion in the 5-star, is going to challenge May and say, I want to take both belts.
Okay.
So, Julia wins that match.
Okay.
Because I want to establish Julia as a piece of shit heel.
It makes sense for Julia to take the red belt at some point, probably sooner rather than later. So
she'll be the first person since, I believe, Mayu. It'll be either Mayu or Kairi, I think, holding both belts.
Mayu's the only person to have done it.
Okay, so it'll be the first person since Mayu to do it. Her white belt is on the line. She didn't have anything to lose. And so Tam comes out and challenges for the white belt. She wants that for Arisa. Takes that off her, and now Julie's the champion. But the white belt defense doesn't happen on a Korakuen. It happens in Osaka.
Okay.
Okay, so that'd be us on October there. So in November defense, on the undercard, Mayu and Ihara have their last match, which Mayu wins a bit more handily.
Okay.
with the running D, which is the Horror's move, which Mayu was trying to use on her in the match before. So Mayu wins, just to keep her stock going. And in the upper card, Konami gets a shot.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So going into December, I'm going to assume, but assuming she's ready, and I think she might be, Jungle comes back. So Jungle comes back, and Mayu has her rematch on that main event, but on the undercard, Momo and not Momo and Jungle are the last people in a battle royal to decide the number one contendership at January 4th at the Dome, because I assume that's why she said January 4th.
Okay.
So the Jungle finally overcomes Momo in this battle royal. It's still in the back of everyone's mind that Momo can't beat. That Momo is still better, but Jungle has beaten her. So going into the Dome, it's Julia versus Jungle, because they don't need to worry about drawing, and that's putting a good foot forward is probably the best match from the 5-star. Well, from 5-star, from the Cinderella. And B is a nice bit of symmetry because Julia was Hannah's partner at the Dome last year.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's lovely.
Either way, Jungle wins.
So if we both got Jungle to win it ultimately.
Yeah, because Jungle's great, and I'm not gonna lie, most of my booking was based around me wanting 2 more May versus the horror matches.
I'd be totally down for that. I'm not gonna lie. So,
well, you need the first one before saying.
I will. Don't worry. So, just to clarify, then, Julia, you have got taking the white belt.
Julia took the white belt, but then Tam beat her for the white belt.
Okay, so I'm going to go with Julia to take the white belt as well. That's why she doesn't figure too much into my plans. I think there will be an entire arc where Julia is basically completely unbeatable. Tam will eventually take the white belt off her, and then Julia will ascend to the red belt and will take the red belt and again be very, very dominant. I think we are going to see Shiori as sort of, for lack of a better phrase, that Sonada who is capable of challenging at the main event and the white belt level. I don't think Micah's there yet, but I imagine that's only a matter of time. So let's say for a moment that B and Jamie, don't figure for the rest of the year because of travel restrictions. Which of course means no Session Moth, no Zoe Lucas, no Bobby Taylor, none of the fringe members of factions. Obviously, that means that we are very, very limited in a Goddesses of Stardom Tag League, and presumably what will happen is the titles will be held vacant, and the belts will be the prize at the end of the Goddesses of Stardom Tag League. That's what I would assume.
I think it might be a case of only one block this year.
I agree, unless they do freelancers.
Yeah. But to be fair, there's an even amount in each faction apart from Stars, I believe. Oh, TCS. Jungle might be back. But yeah, I reckon either Konami and Jungle win that if Jungle's ready, or Donna Del Mondo. Because I think it would be nice to have all the belts on this faction you're trying to establish. Because you look like earlier in the year and Stars held everything.
So I'm going to disagree with you because I've got a little story going through. And so in my story, obviously, in December, Momo is the red belt holder. She still entered into the Goddesses of Stardom Tag League, but she teams with Tall Saya. The final, Utami and Azumi beat Momo and Tall Saya. Utami and Azumi then beat I can't remember who else I had in the final. Shiori and Micah in the final of the tag league to become the new tag champions. Utami having pinned Momo. There's a little seed there over who is the leader of Queen's Quest, and I think that's a story you can take going forward.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
God, we're good at this, Chris. God, we're good at this.
Iris Dad. Why haven't they hired us yet?
Yeah, God. So those are our stories going forward up until the 4th of January 2021. Please comment in Twitter on who you think has booked it the best. I honestly think we've both done quite well with that. I'm not going to lie. I think if either of those come true, then I'd be relatively happy, Chris.
Yeah, I won't be happy, but I will be enjoying the wrestling product. So
absolutely. So let's stop it there then, guys. Obviously, at the moment, as I've already stated a couple of times, we don't know when the next Stardom shows are going to be. So we're going to hold off announcing what our next show will be. Fingers crossed, the matches that we were missing to complete our Jungle versus Momo and Queen's Quest show will be up by then. So if we don't have any live Stardom shows, that will be our backup to release in July. If, again, fingers crossed, all the matches are released on Stardom World. In the meantime, you can talk to us on Twitter at the StardomCast. You can join our Facebook group at Podmania Podcasts. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or whether that's Podbean, Spotify, wherever. We are literally everywhere. You can talk to me on Twitter at RealRobGoodwin. Chris, where can they find you?
I have a new handle and I have to go on it 1 second.
Intriguing.
Yeah, because you can. Chris loves Pura.
There you go. So please go and check that out as well. Don't forget to go and check out that thread on Twitter. It is under Shut Up Wilf. It's a really, really interesting thread. Again, some really, really good booking ideas. Have a look and tell us how we fared in relation to that. Until next time, guys, we'll talk to you again soon.